Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. So we'll be speaking and hearing from Bhagavad Gita, a continuation of Bhagavad Gita chapter 9. This will be verse number 29 today. Everyone can repeat after me. Samoham sarvabhuteshu Name dveshosti na priyaha Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya Maite teshu chapyaham Anybody would like to?
Samoham sarvabhuteshu Name dveshosti na priyaha Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya Maite teshu chapyaham
Samoham sarvabhuteshu Name dveshosti na priyaha Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya Maite teshu chapyaham
Samoham sarvabhuteshu Name dveshosti na priyaha Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya Maite भूतेषु चाप्यहम्
समोऽहं सर्वभूतेषु
न मे द्वेषोऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि ते तेषु चाप्यहम्
Samaha, equally disposed. Aham, I. Sarva Bhuteshu, to all living entities. Na, no one. Me, to me. Dveshya, hateful. Asti, is. Na, nor. Priya, dear. Ye, those. Who? Bhajanti, render transcendental service. To, but. Maham, unto me. Bhaktya, in devotion. Mai, are in me. Te, such persons. Teshu, in them. Cha, also. Api, certainly. Aham, I. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Purport. One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone, and no one is his special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination. It is natural. Any man in this material world may be very charitably disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. The Lord claims that every living entity, in whatever form, is His Son, and so He provides everyone with a generous supply of the necessities of life. He's just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless of whether it falls on rock or land or water. But for His devotees, He gives specific attention. Such devotees are mentioned here. They're always in Krishna consciousness, and therefore they are always transcendentally situated in Krishna. The very phrase Krishna consciousness suggests that those who are in such consciousness are living transcendentalists situated in Him. The Lord says here distinctly, Mai te, they are in me. Naturally, as a result, the Lord is also in them. This is reciprocal. This also explains the words, Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. Whoever surrenders unto me proportionately, I take care of him. This transcendental reciprocation exists because both the Lord and the devotee are conscious. When a diamond is set in a golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified, and at the same time, the diamond is glorified. The Lord and the living entity eternally glitter, and when a living entity becomes inclined to the service of the Supreme Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combination is very nice. Living entities in a pure state are called devotees. The Supreme Lord becomes the devotee of His devotees. If a reciprocal relationship is not present between the devotee and the Lord, then there is no personalist philosophy. In the impersonal philosophy, there is no reciprocation between the Supreme and the living entity. But in the personalist philosophy, there is. The example is often given that the Lord is like a desire tree. And whatever one wants from this desire tree, the Lord supplies. But here the explanation is more complete. The Lord is here stated to be partial to the devotees. This is the manifestation of the Lord's special mercy to the devotees. The Lord's reciprocation should not be considered to be under the law of karma. It belongs to the transcendental situation in which the Lord and his devotees function. Devotional service to the Lord is not an activity of this material world. It is part of the spiritual world, where eternity, bliss, and knowledge predominate. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, and I am also a friend to him. So those who get emails from me, you'll see in my email signature, there is a verse. And that verse is this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.8.8. And I chose this because I found it very, very attracted to it. And the verse goes like this: Gantum krattamatir brahman dwarakam ratham astitah upanebhe abhidhavantim uttaram bhaya vivalam. Translation is, as soon as he seated himself on the chariot to start for Dwarka, he saw Uttara hurrying toward him in fear. All the members of the family of the Pandavas were completely dependent on the protection of the Lord. And therefore the Lord protected all of them in all circumstances. The Lord protects everyone, but one who depends completely upon him is especially looked after by the Lord. The Father is more attentive to the little son who is exclusively dependent on the Father. So here we see that after the battle of Mahabharat, and a lot of the Kauravas were killed, and Ashwatthama had this Brahmastra, and he wanted to kill the last Pandava who was in the womb of Uttara, and he released the Brahmastra. Such a gross act. Now, first to attack the woman is itself a bad thing, and on top of that, release a nuclear weapon is worse than that. And at that point, what did Uttara do? Is she went to Lord Krishna. Krishna is about to leave now, and for Dwarka, and Uttara is coming up, and she tells Krishna, Uttara vacha pahi pahi mahayogin deva deva jagatpate nanyam tvat abhayam pashye yatra mrityu parasparam. Uttara said, O Lord of Lords, Lord of the universe, you are the greatest of mystics. Please protect me, for there is no one else who can save me from the clutches of death in this world of duality. So she goes to Krishna directly. At that point, the Pandavas are also there, they're present. All the 5 Pandavas were there. Very, very mighty, powerful. But she didn't approach them, she approaches Krishna directly. The next verse goes, Oh my Lord, you are all powerful. A fiery iron arrow is coming towards me fast. My Lord, let it burn me personally, if you so desire. But please do not let it burn and abort my embryo. Please do me this favor, my Lord. She's approaching and saying, if I have to get killed, it's okay, Krishna, please. That's fine. But can you please protect this embryo? This is the only last nishani of the Pandavas. So the Goswami says, having patiently heard her words, Lord Shri Krishna, who is always very affectionate to his devotees, could at once understand that Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya, had thrown the Brahmastra to finish the last life in the Pandava family. O foremost among the great thinkers, Munis, Shaunaka, seeing the glaring Brahmastra proceeding towards them, the Pandavas took up their 5 respective weapons. So Pandavas got inattention. They were like ready to protect Uttara. It was not possible. The Brahmastra is so powerful, it's very difficult for them even to control. But the Almighty Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, having observed that a great danger was befalling his unalloyed devotees, who were fully surrendered souls, at once took up his Sudarshan disc to protect them. The Lord of the Supreme Mysticism, Sri Krishna, resides within everyone's heart as the Paramatma. As such, just to protect the progeny of the Kuru dynasty, he covered the embryo of Uttara by his personal energy. You see this picture? Krishna is also in our heart as Paramatma. He's hearing everything, he knows everything that is going on with us. So he's present there as well. And he covers the embryo with his own power. And the Brahmastra is trying to enter, pierce, but it cannot. O Shaunaka, glory to Prabhu's family. Although the supreme Brahmastra weapon released by Ashwatthama was irresistible and without check or counteraction, it was neutralized and foiled when confronted by the strength of Vishnu, Lord Krishna. So here we can see from this incident that there's no doubt Krishna is equal to everyone, just like the example that was given. When it rains, when Indra pours rain, he doesn't see where I'm throwing the rain's falling. Is there a rich person there or a poor person? Is there a palace there or is there a hut over there? He just pours rain and equally it's distributed where it's distributed. Similarly, when the sun rises, it doesn't discriminate. The sun rays flows in whichever direction it's rising, it just goes. But one may choose not to take the sun rays. One may choose to be inside the house. One may choose to close their windows. One may choose to put the curtains on. But it distributes its sun rays equally. That's the example that we can see that Krishna is not partial. He's equal to all. He gives everything that everybody requires. He doesn't interfere with our karmic reactions. Basically, what we are facing is our karmic reactions. Even an ant gets its food, and an elephant also gets its food. But those who are his devotees, those who take up this bhakti marg, first of all, we must understand who's a devotee. These days, anybody and everybody is considered as a devotee. If you can do some magical things, then you become a devotee. You have so many gurus, but those gurus don't have another guru. They are not in disciplic succession, they don't have sampradaya, but they become devotees. So people are misled in Kali Yuga. That is why they're very reluctant to follow anybody or any organization. They question, how do you know Bhagavad Gita? This Bhagavad Gita is not manipulated since 5,000 years. All these doubts come. How do you know this is your path is the right path? There are so many paths outside. How do you know your path is the correct one? Simple. When Bhagavad Gita was spoken, there was no other path. You ask anybody, you ask any religion when it started. 1500 years ago, 2500 years ago, 3000 years ago. Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5500 years ago. That time there was only one dharma, Sanatana Dharma. There was no Hinduism, there was no Christianity, there was no Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism. All these isms came much later on. And in Bhagavad Gita also, clearly says Sri Bhagavan Vacha, that Bhagavan is speaking, not Krishna, not some coward boy, but Bhagavan is speaking. And that also 5,000 years ago when he spoke to Arjuna, and he said so many things. Arjuna said, how do you know all this? He said, I've spoken this before also to sun god, Vivashwan, a millennium ago. So this keeps repeating one after another. So we have to understand that devotee means one who connects you with God. And a pure devotee that we came across was Srila Prabhupada, who connected us with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna himself. No manipulation, no nothing, no putting his own ideas and philosophy and concoction, nothing. Simple. You come here to the temple, there is Krishna. There is Gaurnita. Sometimes people ask, how come Apkiya you don't have Ganesha and Durga and Hanumanji? And valid question. But we are Vaishnavas. And a Vaishnava means who worships Vishnu or Krishna. And Krishna is the Supreme Lord. And you bring any Devi Devatas, anyone, we can show you that how they are devotees of Krishna. They are subservient of Krishna. You take Indra, you take Ganesha, you take any Devi Devatas. So here when we know that the Supreme Lord is Krishna, then we don't need to look anywhere else. So now if we understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, we must understand how to achieve Him, how to please Krishna. See, Vaishnavism or Vaishnavism is not very black and white. It's not like it's like this or it's like that. Vaishnavism means whatever is pleasing to Krishna is what we do. For example, Krishna, this fact that Krishna especially looks after his devotees, you see so many examples. He's equal to all, but especially those who have taken shelter of him, those who have surrendered to him. He saved the Pandavas in so many situations, from poisoned cake, from man-eating cannibals, when they were suffering in the forest, when they were in exile, when they were in the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna was present with Arjuna. From the weapon of Ashwatthama, he saved Uttara. Krishna protected Draupadi until she was trying to save herself. He let her do what she wants to do. But as soon as a devotee calls out on Krishna, Krishna appears. He saved her. He helped Sudama and his family. As soon as Sudama came, Krishna gave up his throne. He ran towards Sudama and he washed Sudama's own feet. Now for a moment, let's go to the other section. Is it wrong to be favorable? Sometimes people wonder, why is God so favorable to certain people only? Why are certain people or certain countries progressing and why are the others not? Why is there so much poverty in India? Why is there this? Why is there that? India is where the scriptures, Vedic scriptures come from. Krishna appeared there. Then why there is so much poverty? Well, we must understand this. We can't blame everything on Krishna. This entire universe is self-sufficient. Food, grains, everything is self-sufficient. It's available. There's so much land that if farming was done, there will never be shortage of food. But what humans do, they give all the foods and grains. A lot of the grains goes to the cows, cattle, and then they grow them, and then they finish them, and they kill them. It's misused in many ways. And because of that misuse, there are shortages in many places. People are committing so many aparads, so many sinful activities. In the next life, they are suffering for that. So how can Krishna be favorable? If anyone here takes good care of your parents, you have siblings, you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 siblings, and there's one child of that who really takes care of the parents. Isn't it right for the parents to be favorable to that child? Agree or disagree?
Yes. Agree.
Agree?
Yes.
If a friend who is there for you when you are in need of him or her, and then is always there for you, and then sometimes you favor that person, is that wrong or it's right? It's okay.
Right.
It's okay. Someone who always sees positive in you, encourages you, and uplifts you. And when you come in contact with that person, you feel upbeat, you feel fired up. Whereas there are others who will always find negative in you, who will always talk behind you, who will always curse you. Is it okay to be favorable to the person who's uplifting you?
Yes.
Or you should be equal to both? If you have a party at home, small group of people, you should invite everyone because I want to be equal to everyone. They will spoil the atmosphere of your party. To someone who helps you financially when you're really in need. You lost a job, you need to buy a house, or whatever the financial situation is, this person comes forward not because he has $1 million sitting in the bank, but because you need some money. So the person comes forward to help you, irrespective of how much he or she has. Is it okay to do that? Can you be favorable to that person? Yes? Say a loud yes if you do. If a spiritual master gives initiation, first and second, at the same time to somebody, would you discriminate that spiritual master and say that this spiritual master is so partial? When I wanted to take initiation, he only gave me first initiation. But this person who started at the same time with me, he's been given 2 initiations at the same time. No. Why? Because the spiritual master sees something special in that person that you don't have. Is he being favorable to that other person? Because that person, whenever the spiritual master comes, he writes a big check for them? No. He's favorable because he sees that this person is very, very sincere. He sees there's a potential in this person. So he brings him to the Brahmana level quicker than the others. To someone who goes out of their way to help you, is it not natural that you would be favorable? I'm giving all these reasons because these are the reasons exactly why Krishna is also favorable to his devotees. In this material world, it's a little bit in a gross form because we help others hoping that they will also help us. A lot of people help without expectation, but a lot of us also help others out of expectation that tomorrow I will also be helped. To recognize an employee who goes over and beyond and give that person, if you have people reporting into you, to give them a bonus, to give them promotion. Somebody says, sir, you've been very partial to this person. We both started 5 years ago. You gave me the same number of projects. In fact, I've been working overtime and everything, but somehow you give this person bonus and promotion. In a genuine case where somebody's really worked hard, is it doing favors or is it, it's okay. Vijay Prabhu is a businessman here. Would you give this person more favor who's been working sincerely? Yes, absolutely. In corporate world, there's a lot of politics, other things may happen, keeping that apart. I want you all to focus on this because many times when difficulties come, we start thinking, कि भगवान ने मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों किया? Why is the Lord doing this to me? Bhagwan hai ki nahi? Is he there? Does he even know that I'm going through these challenges? Or has he forgotten me? All these questions start popping up. And hence we must understand that am I surrendered unto him? How much am I surrendered into him? Draupadi was being distrobed by Dushasan, who had the power of 10,000 elephants. She knew that she doesn't stand a chance against him. Krishna was actually present right there. Krishna is in her heart. He's in everyone's heart. He was right there. He could have just stuck the sari to her body from inside. Then he tries to pull the sari, just doesn't come out. He could have done so many things. But he did not until she surrendered to him. So this question we must ask ourselves. Then are we surrendered? And what does surrender mean? I've been coming for last 6 years and I chant 4 rounds or 1 round every day. Ye yathamam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. As you surrender unto me, accordingly I reciprocate, Krishna says. And somebody comes in 1 week and starts chanting 16 rounds. Why? He has developed that faith and conviction in this process. Who will Krishna favor? We may say, well, I've been coming for 6 years and still Krishna is not helping me. But just look at the surrender. You can't expect somebody, even in material world, somebody doing something at work for say so many years, 10 years, the same thing, and you expect them to suddenly, make a lot of money and progress, climb the corporate ladder. It doesn't work like that. We have to put in that effort. For a teacher to help a student who is weak or inquisitive, is it wrong to be favorable? No. To someone who cooks for you when you are sick, is it wrong to be favorable? No. these things that I'm talking about is becoming rare in Kali Yuga. Very rare. Because people's lives are so busy that they don't have time for these things. So what to speak about surrendering and doing something for Krishna? हम लोगों के साथ हमारे ही with our own humans, community, friends, relatives, we lack sometimes these things. But if you have a person around you who does these things for you, you are the most fortunate. Remember this, you may not have a lot of wealth, beauty, strength, but if you have a person that when you cry and a tear falls, and before it falls on the ground, the person's hand comes out to hold that tear, you're the most fortunate person. There's not many people like that. But ask yourself this, am I that person for somebody else? Am I that person for somebody else? Before Krishna, we expect Krishna to help us. Ask, how much am I doing for Krishna and his devotees? We always want to expect something from Krishna without focusing on how much am I doing for Krishna. If we cannot do something for Krishna and his devotees, if we are not someone who can cry when a dear one cries, then nobody is going to cry for us or help us when we are in that situation. It's a very simple formula. To someone who is by your bedside when you're in a hospital, you put a picture of status update on Facebook, I'm in hospital, people will say like. Even that they will say like. I don't understand what that means. In one sense I understand, meaning acha, good post, you are in the hospital, I support you, but I'm in the hospital, I'm suffering, like. Love it, you're in the hospital. Some people send a text message, how are you doing? Every day they'll say, did you come out, did you come out? But somebody who will take time from their busy work schedule to come and see you in the hospital, would you ever forget that? If I forgot that, there is nobody as miser I would consider than myself. But somebody who came to me, brought food for me, sat with me, sat there next to me and chatted with me, and took care of me when I was in such a difficulty. I'm in claustrophobic situation in a hospital. I want to step out. I'm not able to step out. I want to go and participate in Gaura Aarti. I want to be in this program. You see, when you're in that situation, then we miss all this. But when we are outside the hospital, we don't give it importance. We think, oh, we can go anytime. But think of yourself in that situation where you're paralyzed in the bed, can't do anything. You will miss devotee association like anything. And in that, somebody brings devotee association to you. You will never forget, a gentleman will never forget that person for the rest of their life. To someone who helps you progress in spiritual life. Sometimes people say this, Prabhuji, they sometimes, I know in their behind their back they're thinking that this person favored another person. How come you give this person this service and not this person this service? Or you're just being very nice with this person because they gave you money for the temple and not being nice with this person. No, it's not that. Because some people's view is very direct, one person to one person. But when you go at a spiritual master's level, temple president's level, leadership level, you have views of many, 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 many people who are serving you in many capacities. Just like for Krishna. Krishna sees all of us. You can't even count that many souls. And he knows which soul is reciprocating with him in which way. And accordingly, he reciprocates with that person. And we think only about that one person who started Krishna consciousness with me. And we feel, how come Krishna is favorable to him but not to me? Somebody who helps us in our spiritual life. What could be more grateful than to be grateful to that person? To someone who helped you purchase a new home, someone who helped you through school, to help you to build a temple, or a disciple who's serving sincerely and carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. You would be favorable. And Krishna does say that I'm equal to all, but I'm more inclined to those who are my devotees. And here I've listed When Prahlad Maharaj was saved, he protected the residents of Vrindavan from Indra when the rain fell, 7 days, 7 nights. Gokul residents were protected from the demons sent by Kamsa. Residents of Mathura from the evil king of Kamsa. Saved Gajendra from the crocodile. He personally carried Haridas Thakur's body, who was a Muslim by birth. When he left his body, Mahaprabhu himself carried him. He was not allowed in the Jagannath temple. Lord Jagannath came out and carried him. Srila Prabhupada himself, just recent, he helped him to spread the message of Bhagavad Gita. He fulfilled Rukmini's desire to be kidnapped. Dhruv Maharaj was awarded the pole star. Pundalik, those who are from Maharashtra know the story of Vithala. The Brahmanas' wives were delivered. When Krishna went to the Brahmanas, they said, Chala jao, go from here. And the Brahmanas' wives fed the cowherd boys and were delivered. He killed the Kaliya snake who poisoned the Yamuna river. So like this, Krishna favors his devotees. Now it's up to really us. How much I want to take up this Krishna consciousness, seriously or not seriously. Ye yatha mam prapadyanti tams tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartamanu vartante manushya partha sarvasha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. So the formula is so simple, then any sane person, any intelligent person will say, then that means the more I do, the more he'll notice, and the more he'll remember me, and he'll be there for me. So that means I have to give myself more and more and more and more and more to Krishna. And it's like an ocean. The more deeper and deeper you go, it never ends. So there is never that enough. And the best part is as you keep serving more and more, you relish more and you want to do more. You get that nectarian. If you feel pressure, if you feel pushing yourself to do Krishna consciousness, that means something is wrong somewhere. If you have to work hard for your parents and you feel that pressure, I have to do this for my parents, there is a problem somewhere. If you have to go through school, your parents are working hard and putting you through school, and you have to, you criticize, there's a problem. So same way in Krishna consciousness, after we come to Krishna consciousness, if we don't feel bliss by serving more and more, then there's a problem. And mostly the problem is with our chanting. Our chanting is probably not proper. So, anybody has any question or comment? Yes.
So, that previous slide where we mentioned these things, so these are the material principles, right? So, how do we understand or we comprehend that these will be same in transcendental world as well?
Yeah. In the transcendental world.
As in, we are comparing, right? That
these are the things, and if we do this, then why not failure? So I always had this question, not just while you show this, so it came to my mind. So I always wonder, because when we give examples of a real world, material world, and we try to understand basically the concept. So I always wonder that is it okay to compare like this?
Yeah, we are not comparing actually. We are not saying that, see, here we did this and Krishna also. We are just giving examples that even in this material world, that when a child gives attention, care to the father also does it. That's very natural. It's a very simple positive formula, right? It's that even in the material world, this is more to those people who can criticize it. They say, why does the parent have to give the will to only this son? Well, because the other son was using it in drugs and this and that, and that's why. So same way, like here, you see so many examples where the devotees were completely surrendered to the Lord, so the Lord is helping them. So that is the example we are giving. We are not comparing in the sense that material may be ho raha hai, to spiritual may be. No, spiritual mein hua hai. That's why on the left we have all those examples. Right? Draupadi, only by once Draupadi, Krishna's finger got cut like this, Draupadi tore her sari and wrapped it around Krishna's hand. What she did, right away she reacted. She didn't think Bhagwan, Krishna, this, that. Right away with love and devotion she did that. How did he reciprocate? By giving her miles and miles of sari to protect her. So the point is this, that we're giving examples that even in material life it's like that. And material life is a reflection of the spiritual life. So, you do a little bit for Krishna. Krishna does so much for you. Anybody else?
Is it sometime not happen that you could be a very good devotee, but your life would be, material life would be miserable? Sometimes people tend to make a conclusion, okay? So people probably tend to make a conclusion that, oh, his life is like really bad, so he might not be a good devotee. Inside somebody could be a very good devotee, but life could be his previous karma, so it could be bad.
Yes, Prabhu, absolutely. Let's go through the list here. Was Draupadi's life miserable? Would you like to go through exile 14 years? Was it miserable? Yes or no?
Yes.
Was Prahlad Maharaj's life miserable at one point? Yes. Was Sudama's life miserable?
Yes.
Were they bad devotees? You have the answer. Be prepared. If we call ourselves Vaishnavas, be prepared for that test. Don't, हिल मत जाओ. जो problems आएंगे life में हिल मत जाओ. Vaishnava means very determined. जो होता है सो होने दो. They depend on Krishna. And here Uttara, what did she say? You can take my life, no problem. Can any one of us say to Krishna, you can take my house, you can take my car, you can take my job, everything is okay? No. Krishna, you save all that and then give me bhakti. So I can utilize the house, I can invite devotees. I can have Krishna, I need a nice house, I can have a separate room for you. So I can invite devotees. I need all these things, then I can do bhakti. If you can say literally that tomorrow this laptop breaks here, right here, we may lose our पूरा भगवत गीता क्लास कर दिया, क्या हो गया? We'll get अमरीश प्रभु ठीक से रखना चाहिए. मैं बोलूँगा नहीं, मन में सोचूंगा अमरीश प्रभु को ध्यान ही नहीं रहता है. मेरा $800 का लैपटॉप तोड़ दिया. क्या हुआ? पूरा disturbed. No, टूट गया. What can you do about it? One day it happened. My car was vandalized right in front of my house. Next morning, the police came and rang the doorbell. Said, "Sir, do you know your car has been vandalized? It's a very safe place." But what happened was somebody came to take revenge on my neighbors' cars because they had problems with teenagers there. My car was next to them. They thought my car was also their car. They slashed all the 4 tires. They smashed the window, this, that, everything. The police came up. I went outside, looked at it. The neighbor's mother was there, and she was like, "Oh, and I was standing there, and I was just calmly listening, and I took, okay, what's the next step, this, that. The police, before leaving, he's saying, "Sir, I have never come across somebody who's so calm when your car has been vandalized right here." I said to myself, "Thank you, Prabhupada." Thank you, Prabhupada. What can I do about it? What can you do about it? This is not just a talk, I'm telling you, this is when we practice Krishna consciousness, we have to be ready for those situations. Don't panic, you'll make the things worse. If you are not able to think at that time when you're in difficulty, you'll make things worse. If you're sitting in a plane and suddenly the plane goes rocks like this, and it says, "Mayday, Mayday," what would you do? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. That's your real test. So prepare, think about it all the time. That tomorrow when you wake up, you're going to go through the most difficult test of your life. Are you ready for it? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. This one last quote. I like this quote by Ramacandra Maharaj. Prabhupada said, "Whatever service one does for Krishna, Krishna never forgets. Krishna will always remember that service, however insignificant. Even if you come to the temple and he turns one screw for Krishna, Krishna will never forget." मतलब आप कुछ भी डालो, $1, 1 cent, he's going to give you $100 back. Which fool will not do this? You turn one screw and Krishna remembers that. Actually, I want to turn every screw here, because every screw. Let's go around the whole temple, turn every screw. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for this wonderful talk.